mother gave, what to look for in a woman to marry. For all the male here who are yet to get married, I think he will do us some good if he shares with us some of the qualities.
Well, it depends on your character, really. Like how I am. It depends on who you are.
Generally, don't personalize this. If you were to advise your brother, it can never be the same. Yes. The tips. What were some of the things your mother told you in terms of recognizing a particular woman as a potential helper, as the Bible says, as a wife material?
Well,
yes.
I'm not sure how to answer the question, but it depends how you are as a person. For me, for instance, I look into how a woman speaks, how you approach guy. Like, although you are beautiful, how you you receive people. Because, like I used to say, I've always seen myself to be someone very important. So, how my wife will receive, how how she talks. Yeah. These. I think this is one of the qualities. I think.
Mr. Dutson, would you like to also share some of the qualities? I don't know, Junior, if you have a list, but we are going to come to you in a minute because you are still searching, right? So we'll come to you. But Mr. Dutson, were they things you looked for? Why did Mrs. Dutson stood out from all the other, previous relationship to the extent that the violent shall take it by force? You had to actually pray and ask God to kick that person away and replace you with that person. What made her so special?
Well, I think, first of all, obviously, Mrs. Dawson was very beautiful.
Still is?
Not past, that's why. So, of course, she is still beautiful. I mean, you cannot take that away from her. No, I was the one speaking low. So, but then I think when I got to know her, I noticed, and this is obviously something that I look out for, in any woman or like female that I want to enter into a relationship with. Do you really have that forward-thinking mind? Do you look forward to what do you want to achieve for yourself? And I want to be sure that at least you have something that you look forward to. There's something that you are passionate about, either passionate about a skill, passionate about a business, passionate about because there are people that are just today young chile, young boy. But then Mrs. Dawson was a person who, I think from the very start that I saw her to be very, very mature, although she was, I think, just a now what level was I? She was just level 100. At the time, I think I was in 300.
Grab them young.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did grab her young. But then, when I started getting to her, I realized she was very mature in mind, and the kind of thing that she was talking about, you wouldn't really find it amongst the level 100 young, fresh grad. So she was very futuristic, and she knew from the word go what she wanted to achieve for herself, the kind of future that she wanted to envisage. So I saw that this is something that really stood out for me. She was very she had great virtues, and even at the time where as a guy, Charlie, you seen the girl young, first they want to pick some moves, but you could see said no, this one is different. It's not every. No, there are some, excuse my language, excuse me to say, there are some women that you might want to pick a move on. They won't really
say anything.
And for more but there are people that who are very principled, and that is one thing that I cannot take from her. She's very principled, and her yes is a yes, her no is a no. If she says yes, it's yes. So that firmness and that the ability to really stand her ground really stood out for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kudos to you, Mrs. Dutson. Jacqueline, representing the rest of the females in this room, did you have a list? What was on that list?
Give us the specs.
Yes, I had a list. I had a very long list for that
Hey.
matter.
Summarize it.
Yes, I will. I was very particular and I was very specific. Fortunate or unfortunate, I would say it's unfortunate. I had a lot of guys that wanted my attention at all times. Aldim, I would testify. They were also giving my brother pressure, but I don't accept that. I'm very particular in what or who I want to marry. So it's not just any guy that just comes my way that I'm going to give you my attention. And a lot of the time, they would say, some of the words they'll use is, oh, I'm stush, I feel like, yeah, but because that's how I had to see myself, because if you don't see yourself that way as a woman, you're going to fall for anyone that comes along your way. You have to be principled, like Mrs. Dadson is. You have to be very particular of what you want and also have a future for yourself. I know the type of future I want, more God-fearing than I am, so that's one thing I really like about him. And also someone that would like help me grow, boost my whatever it is that I want, boost it, understand it, what it is that I want to do, or the type of lifestyle I want to live, and just do it together. So yeah, these are the type of things I looked for.
Thank you. Wonderful. And for the record, if you weren't special, they wouldn't be coming. The only reason they kept coming is because you're special. And that goes out to every female in this room. The fact that the amount in whatever they are saying about you is right. Because if you were not good at one penny, they should have gone away. So why do they keep coming? It's only because they are, you are good and they want you for themselves. So just keep calm. I mean, one of the things I personally keep telling my sisters is, if you do not like somebody when they are white lady, be firm with your answers. I'm sorry. I like the fact that you like me, but I don't feel the same for you. Simple. And you're false. And if you are honest with them, or to a or shafa for girls, what not? Yeah, so just, I've heard about a lot of instances where male approach females and you don't like them, they say what not, and then, it becomes a whole mess. Please don't get yourself into such instances. It's not appropriate. We a lady, yes, sir. Just give them your no answer. But it doesn't mean you become an enemy, right? Yeah, you keep your casual relationship. Sometimes you don't even have it affects men have ego. And if you do something to attack their ego, they will pounce on you like a lion. Okay? So that's one of the things. We'll quickly get what is on Mr. Coker's list at the moment. And whilst he's giving us the items on his list, please get your questions ready. Any general thing, it can be what we've already mentioned, more explanation. We haven't got enough time to cover everything, but we are hoping that these basics and yet important things that we have discussed here are going to go a long way for everyone. Okay, so get your questions ready. We'll come right to you. But before then, Junior, please, what is on your list? What type of girl are you willing to settle with?
Okay. So, first of all, I wouldn't particularly say I have a list, but
you have an idea.
An idea.
Okay, so take us through your idea.
The first thing would obviously be the girl has to be God-fearing.
Okay.
So obviously, because I've been brought up, in Christianity, I've been, taught to follow, basically to become a Christian, and I've seen that to become a Christian, there's certain things you have to do. So I would like my partner to.
They say they can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Speak to the hearing of the last person at the back.
So like I said, my part, like someone who I look for has to be God-fearing, first of all. Second of all, that person has to also have a future in terms of if they see us having a future together, in terms of that person has a plan, that person knows what they're doing. That is someone, that's the type of person I would like to, go with, and also bring my future and, combine it together and, to create something. And lastly, I mean, it's like, for example, just normal characteristics, just as how she speaks, how she, articulates herself, personality, that's all bonus really. So yeah, I don't.
All bonus. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There is something that just dropped to me right now as our brother was making his submission. It's about females. It's not every guy that approaches you that wants a relationship with you. I think that's also one of the problems that we have. The moment a guy begins to get a little bit closer, we become anxious, about the whole thing, making a mountain out of a mold, like, that kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. Don't look at me like you don't know. Keep nodding so I know you know. Yes. It's not sometimes they just want to be friends. It might actually be a God factor getting them close to you to help them through something. And I am talking from experience. It's not every male that comes close to you or wants to get close to you that wants a sexual or established relationship with you. With that said, there are others though that comes with that purpose. Okay? And even if they don't say it, they say actions speak what? Louder than words. Their actions will tell you. They might not have the courage and the boldness to say those 3 words, I love you. But their actions is telling you they are buying things for you. Each time they are phoning you deep into the midnight, you are chatting on the phone with this person and all that. Clearly something is telling you this person is up to something. If you don't feel the same way towards that person, please end it there. Thank you. Do not lead them on. Because if you lead them on, you are giving them hopes. And if you shatter that hope, it comes back to what? Attack their ego. That is when they try to disgrace and bring you down. Don't get yourself into that position. Has anybody got their questions ready? I think our sister. And the question goes to our panelists. So,
It's just to add to what our moderator just spoke about. There can be a confusion there because there can be a man who would give a girl their attention. But then I would also advise our wonderful men over here that you make your intentions known. Because it's really wrong if, let's say, Mr. Daddy is giving me all the attention. I know. He's giving me all the attention. I'm like, oh, maybe he loves me. Never make an assumption that a man loves. And if the man is not good at communication, that's fine. Just make your intentions known that, oh, I love you as a friend, and it stays there. Because it's really, it would hurt a female. We also have our ego. Sure. It will hurt a female if, Rowena calls me every morning and I'm like, and when I wake up, she's the first person I speak to. Please, we are not lesbian. She's my sister. And then when I'm going to bed, we speak, all those things. She buys things for me, blah, 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 blah. And then I kind of have feelings for Rowena. So the minute I think, oh, maybe Rowena loves me, she's shown all, the signs and blah, blah, blah. And I utter that word that I feel something for you. It might break the relationship. Right. So it's the best thing for us to do is, number one, never make assumptions. Yeah. Number two, always make your intentions known. Right. Anytime I'm talking to someone, I'm like, please let him define this friendship to you. Yeah. Ask him, what are your intentions? And that's it. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. And it goes both ways. Yeah, you establish what your intentions are for that relationship. Are you just friends? Friends with benefits? Friends leading on to what? Courtship and then potentially married. So you discuss that from the very early beginning so that everyone is clear in terms of their positioning. It's not that you go and you see him standing with somebody and then you come back attacking him. Meanwhile, this person has not actually physically proposed to you. Or the same way you see the girl standing with another male and then you come attacking us like, who was that person? Who are you? You are not my husband. You are not my fiancé. So it's that kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you so much, our sister. Any more questions? More questions. We've got 5 minutes or less. 1 o'clock now, bo. Into more of questions now, ma. It's not for me. I'm just asking questions. Oh, please don't feel shy. Oh.
I'm going to ask a question on behalf of Inshira. She said, what happens if you have an agape love for more than one person?
Panelist.
What happens?
If you have an agape love for more than one person.
And I will add on. This is generally, we are all learning. Please, if you have opinions to share, like our sister did, just raise your hand and we'll bring that microphone to you. To add on, or a bit of expansion, is there such thing as one person for you? I think it's in line with the question that Inshira wants to know. Chairman the bills.
Mine is a clarification.
Okay.
Mr. Datson said he met his wife in level 100. And as at that time, there was someone. Meaning, level 100, he had someone.
Ah.
What does it mean?
She wants to defend her Anna. Please give her the microphone.
So actually, I also started dating early in junior high school, and like as he said, I knew what I wanted from the beginning. So even in junior high school, I was with just this person. Like throughout till SS till uni, we're still dating. But you mentioned agape love and other kind of love. So mine was like I became a Christian, like a staunch Christian, very early, at an early age. So I was just moving with the agape kind of love. So in our relationship, there was nothing like sex, nothing, yeah. But then other stuff like giving is a very like important part of a relationship, and I felt like the giving was like on my side, and he didn't really have everything I wanted in a man, but both families were family friends. Everyone knew about us, and then when you are liked by the family, you are easily
Drawn in.
Yeah, drawn in, and if the person is even misbehaving, you are forced to stay in because families come in and try to talk you into staying and all that. But when I got to level 100, I realized that no, this is not what I want. Yeah. And then when I get into marriage, I'll just be staying with the person, not the family. Yeah. So that's when I really like gathered all the courage to back out of the relationship. So
I helped her to back out actually.
No. It wasn't that time. So I really backed out of the relationship, but yeah, we're still friends. Even when I met my husband, I was still visiting the family and all that, but I got to a point in time I was like, no, I can't do this, because if my husband was visiting his ex, I wouldn't be excited about it. Yeah, so
Okay.
that was it.
Thank you. Chairman, you good? Okay, so coming back to Inshira's question, this is my attempt to answer you, okay? Can we have an agape kind of love for more than one person? I think yes, we can. Because if God loves each and everyone in this room, and that is the kind of love we are to express towards individuals or towards each other as believers, then that is possible. Because it's the only way to actually live in the world that we live in without thinking bad or negative about each other. Otherwise, you just shut that door when it comes to loving anybody. Streamlining it or narrowing it to what we are here for, to come and appear in your dream and tell you Inshira, this is the person I have for you. But pray for God to lead you. Let your heart be at peace, so that when you are with this person, you know that that's the person that's meant for you. That is my attempt to answer your question. Our sister, and then I'll come back to our panelists to give us their final words. Junior, for you, what you have to say to the singles here, and for the married ones, what you have to say to people that are preparing to get married, the things that you think they ought to know.
So my question is particularly for Mr. Dadson, since he's been married for 5 years now, and he's been in the filial errors and is it storage for storage for 15 years. So when you started a serious relationship with your wife, obviously love is not all. So when you got to difficult times, difficult moments, what did you do? Because I believe at that time your relationship with God wasn't that strong as now. So how did you deal with such bumps on the road?
Mrs. Das, let me know if you want to come in at any point. But yeah, this year it wasn't all that rosy, I admit. And even, I went in, like I said from the beginning, I saw my wife to be different. So the approach that I approached, the relationship was, I wanted a very godly relationship. But it wasn't all the time that my physical emotions would allow me to be godly. There were times that my emotions would want to take over, my feelings wouldn't take over. That edge, to do stuff was there and all that. So we came to that point where I think from the beginning we had in mind that we were working towards marriage. We started talking about marriage very early in our relationship, and I don't know why. Maybe it was God's divine way. I don't say that all relationship really starts on a marriage note from the very beginning. But then I think it's also because my wife had a fair share of past relationship. I also had a fair share of past relationship to our marriage very early, and so the time that we had challenges, obviously we and it was also good because we were like both Christians at the time. We were in fellowship, Presbyterian fellowship and Methodist fellowship together, and so we had to be involved a lot in like godly activities. I remember we spending a lot of times outside instead of being indoors. Because that is what we realized, that when we are in, most of the time there was that edge, and also because we didn't want that, we said, well, instead of meeting we'd rather be walking around, talking outside, doing stuff more outdoors instead of rather staying indoors where that edge would come in. And we were supportive. I think we really occupied our relationship with a lot of things. And so anytime we met, we had a lot to talk about. Either it's about her studies, how she's getting along, what I can do to help her in her studies, either about her future, what we wanted together and all that. So anytime we met or were even on phone, it was about future plans that we wanted to put in place and all that. And so there was no time for us to be bored or to be lonely, so that that feeling or that edge would really come in. Yeah. Since that's, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I wanted to say that. There's something that I usually say, that usually those things happen in relationship because of idleness. So what we did was we had a diary that we wrote everything that we wanted to discuss about our future. Whenever we met, we picked one topic. So even before we started counseling, we were already counseling ourselves. We talked about the number of children, even the schools they would attend. We wrote our 5-year goals in our first 5 years of marriage, what we wanted to achieve. We did a lot of things. We wrote them down. We had a specific diary for marital plans and all that. We started saving early. So every time was just occupied, discussing one thing or the other. And as he said, we had a lot of time outside as well, because just being indoors can also contribute to other things. So you just have to find like coping mechanisms and strategies, because we are all human beings, and one way or the other you feel like, of course, the person, you are attracted to the person, so it's not easy. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Datsun.
I have a question.
Our time is up. Was that's it, right? Or was there another person? No. Okay. So your final words, what you are leaving the singles with? We'll put it in the fridge. So should we close the... Oh, yes. So, Junior, please. And that should be in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds. Okay. For those who are single out there, just hang in there, buddy. You find someone eventually. I mean, it's God's time, and so there's no pressure. Just take your time. That's what I would say.
Thank you. And those are very wise sayings. We laughed at it, but they are true. So thank you. Mrs. Chumesi Ankara, for the soon to get married.
Okay, for the soon to get married, my advice to you is, whilst you're courting, like Mr. and Mrs. Datsun said, try and stay out more and stop trying to be indoors, so you won't be tempted. Another thing to do is try and learn or read a lot of relationship books, marriage books, Christian books on how to court or what to do in marriage, so that you can prepare yourself in advance. Our church